Luther, the Fallen Son is a 2023 crime thriller film directed by Jamie Payne and written by Neil Cross. The film stars Idris Elba, who is also a producer on the film. It is a self-contained sequel to the British television crime series Luther, starring Idris Elba as Detective Chief Inspector John Luther, who is not averse to burning the books of rules to get things done. The movie was released to select cinemas on 24 February 2023, followed by a Netflix release on 10 March 2023, where it went to the top of the chart within its release week. The plot revolves around Luther, who will have fallen from grace and is trying to redeem himself by solving an unfinished case about a sadistic villain who has a penchant for manipulating people to do his bidding and worse. The good. It's Idris Elba. Before watching this movie, I was not aware that it is a continuation of the TV series Luther, which ran for 5 seasons with 20 episodes. So after a 4-year hiatus, this movie brings back Idris Elba, starring in what I have come to learn is his most iconic role as DCI John Luther. The movie has some solid camera work, riddled with chase scenes and stunning action sequences that scream they were not holding back on the budget. Go big or go home. The villain is infuriatingly rational and not someone simply wreaking mayhem, but calm and reassuring while meticulously planning and carrying out sadistic misdeeds, and could also trade blow for blow and match wit for wit with the anti-hero protagonist, the bad. It is somewhat cliched with some rather glaring potholes, sometimes to the point of ridiculousness. I kept thinking of that trope where a brilliant detective can't effectively solve a case until after they get suspended or removed from the case. Instead of focusing on the case at hand, the authorities instead focus all their resources on catching their erstwhile hotshot agent, who happens to be the only person who can solve the case or catch the bad guy. Like, hello? While the premise of this movie and its title, Luther the Fallen Son, is supposed to show us that Luther has fallen from grace, there isn't enough story to explain how he wound up there. Maybe that's something that people who watch the series might be in a better position to know. In the movie, he's basically a decent bloke, always in his coat and tie, even while bruised and battered, ready to go to the ends of the world to do what needs to be done. They had the budget for it, but it's like they were unsure what to do with it. Sometimes it came across with an audition for a James Bond movie, and a couple of times I got some distinctly Gotham City vibes, with Luther being vengeance watching over the city. The ugly. It explores some rather dark and sadistic themes, like, are we really good people, or we just pretend to be good to conform, and given the right motivation, we are not good people. The manipulation of secrets and shame that was used to control people in the movie is a portrayal of today's modern world. It's a very real and ugly truth, where in just a click, someone can spread something damning about you. Something you'd rather die than have exposed or go viral. In the movie, they never do reveal what exactly was the tipping point for people, which kind of made it an absurd sort of threat. What would someone have on you that will make you behave in that way? Maybe leaving things undefined gave it a sense of intrigue, but it came across more as a plot hole, especially when a character confesses that it wasn't even that big of a deal. Come on. Final thoughts. The end of the movie has had people wondering if they were setting up for a sequel or maybe a grand entrance for the next 007. Well, I would go with maybe they're setting up for Batman. FYI, I know nothing about Idris Elba being considered for a Batman role. You tell me. Did you know Netflix asked Neil Cross to change the gender of the first victim in the movie from a woman to a man to make it less scary? plus potentially to deflect outrage over how TV and films tend to capitalize on victimization of women to crank up impact. Have you watched Luther? Are you a fan of Idris Elba?